The old saying goes that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The same could be said with the classic arcade NBA formula of 2-on-2 action. When NBA Jam landed on arcades, it became an instant hot hit classic, and it was no surprise that it quickly made its way to pretty much every home console that could handle it. Then came the various editions and re-releases, and it seemed that if you wanted an arcade basketball game, then it would always be some iteration of the classic NBA Jam formula. In late 1999, Midway released NBA Showtime Nba on NBC, which is a descendant of the NBA Jam and Hangtime series. The main difference with this release is that the overall presentation is modelled after the NBA style presentation on NBC. However, if you've played and loved any of Midway's other classic NBA arcade games, then you'll feel instantly at home, as although the presentation may have slightly changed, the same over-the-top, insane and bloody enjoyable spirit of the series still remains intact. The game features the rosters from the 98 to 99 season, whereas the arcade machine had rosters from the previous season. Rather than 5-on-5 simulation-like gameplay, NBA Showtime sticks to the 2-on-2 formula, which keeps the game running at an insane speed and makes this an ideal fit for Nintendo's console with its 4 controller ports. When it comes to game modes, the game does keep things as arcade as you can get. Aside from dipping into the options menu, you're pretty much left with the quick arcade matches. There's no extensive career mode, forget custom tournaments and dabbling with tactical elements. Quite frankly, the game is as bare bones as they come, but that isn't a bad thing. The game keeps it simple, not only in the modes, but in pretty much all elements of the game. The controls consist of a steal and a jump button when on defense, and a shoot and pass button while on offense. Throw in a turbo button to speed the action up, and a double tap of this gives you a skill move, and you have everything at your disposal to pick up and play this game in a matter of minutes. It's one of those games you cannot play for years and then return to and still have no problem getting back into the spirit and good gameplay. Thankfully, the game does have the full NBA license, so all of the teams, real players and arenas are present. Each team has 5 players on the roster, but there are some secret characters which you can unlock with codes in the pre-matchup screens. The series is known for the classic line, "He's on fire," and my only gripe with this game is that it seems a lot more difficult to get on fire in this title. I expect it's due to the improved AI, who seem much better at defending your attacks, but if you want to make life easier, you can tweak the difficulty in the options menu. As usual, you'll need to get 3 consecutive scores without reply, and in doing so your player's stats go into overdrive, which can lead to some awesome moments. Now graphically, the game is not a looker by any means, but it's by no means ugly. Yes, the players look blocky, but the facial detail is quite cool, and you can usually tell a player just by looking at their face. There are some occasional graphical glitches and dodgy animations, but as a whole the game runs like a bullet. The game actually does run faster than the original arcade machine, and aside from the Dreamcast port, I really think this is the best overall version in terms of visuals and presentation. A real disappointment, however, is that the cool replays found in other versions are not present here, and although a minor gripe, they are slightly missed, especially if you pulled off an awesome move, there's no way to revisit it. Secondly, there may be a good number of dunk animations, but some of them are certainly choppy and seem disjointed, which can often leave you wondering if you scored or if play has actually resumed. Despite being a cart-based title, the game's audio is fairly well done. Yes, there is the often noticed muffled compression. Having the NBC license gives the game the ability to use pieces of music from the TV presentation which enhance the overall package. This time around, Tim Kitzrow returns to the commentary booth, and as expected there's some classic lines delivered here. They never seem to get old, and the over-the-top delivery is brilliant, and it wouldn't have sounded out of place in a wrestling game. With the minor addition of being able to create your own player and play them in matches to gain points, there is a little longevity here, as you'll do all you can to build your stats up. But the overall pleasure of NBA Showtime comes in the simple fact that the action is fast paced, you don't need to memorise tricky controls or tactics, and you can quite simply play with noobs and still have a blast. Dare I say it, but this could be my favourite NBA title on the system. As a long-time fan of the NBA Jam style games, it was an easy game to enjoy. This is a title that will interest many people, even those who wouldn't necessarily consider themselves fans of the NBA. In the same way that Wayne Gretzky hockey could attract non-hockey fans, This series does the same thing for basketball as a whole, and it's no surprise it was Midway who also developed this title. And so for today's topic of conversation, I'd love to know what you made of this game. Are you a fan of the over-the-top action in Midway's classic 90s sports titles such as this, or do you prefer a more authentic and realistic experience with deeper gameplay to keep you returning to? Sound off in the comments section down below, and if I can pull myself away from this game, which I'm enjoying a whole lot, I will try to join in with the discussion. And until next time.